Welcome back to the Writer's Hive. This is a bi-weekly chat where we attempt to demystify the writing and publication process. As always, I have Julie and Amber with me, and this week we're going to chat about defining author success, why it's important to do that, and how we can help you possibly define it for yourself so that you can feel very successful moving forward in your author career. Julie, do you want to start?
I also just want to mention kind of how this topic came up. We were in our Discord group that we have, which is linked down below, and somebody was talking about comparisonitis and just kind of not feeling like they were doing as much as they could or as well as they could. And I kind of brought the topic to Caitlin and to Amber, and I said it's really difficult to avoid comparisonitis, which I'm sure we'll discuss in a future video, if you haven't already defined success for yourself. And I think that it's a fluid thing. I don't think at any one point in your writing career you can say, this is my definitive only metric for success. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that my metric for success is a New York Times bestseller list. You know, I can't say that right now. Could I say that 10 years in the future? Maybe. But right now, success for me is being proud of what I put out. It's knowing that what I'm doing in the moment and publishing in the moment is to the best of my abilities at this time. Success for myself is being as kind to myself as I can be about recognizing that a book that I wrote 2 years ago will not be as strong as a book that I write 2 years from now. And that's okay. And that all writers have growth. Success for me is finding a community of readers that love my work and love my book. It's finding people that really resonate with A Curse in Ash and that will hopefully see the rest of the series through. And it doesn't matter to me necessarily the numbers for those readers, but just that I am connecting with the readers that, you know, I can. I want to always be pushing myself. I want to always be trying to be my best. And for me, on a personal level, completely absent of monetary things, it's just knowing that I've done my best. I've written the best book I could. I marketed the book as best I could. And in this moment, with my current skill set and current knowledge, I am doing the absolute best I can to further my writing career. I'm engaging with the community. I'm helping other writers. As I learn, I'm helping others, which is a very important metric of success for me. I don't want to ever, further my own career at the detriment of others or to not, include others in whatever knowledge I gain. Like I want to be able to help the community, which is why we do these videos. It's why we do our writing sprints. It's why we have the Discord group, because I think it's important to all of us that as we grow, we help others grow as well. More for me and my strengths than some than the other girls. But yeah, that's success to me is just knowing that with each work, I've done my best and kind of trusting that my books, find people that can recognize, the hard work that I put into it. And I very consciously try to avoid making my metric for success monetary or number based. It's very difficult in today's society to even have accurate numbers to compare to. I tried at the beginning, and Caitlin really told me not to, that it's very difficult for me at my current point in my career with the genre of book that I put out to find somebody who's comparable to me, like finding another author that has, the following that I have, the backing that I have for like marketing and team, etc., and has the same kind of genre and going, okay, well, this is their sales versus my sales. Like I can't find that person. That person doesn't exist. And if they do, I still don't need to compare myself to them. Because my level of success is going to be different than somebody else's level of success or sales or, numbers. And everybody's coming at it from a different angle where they may be, paying portions of their earnings to agents or publishers or different things. Like everybody's situations are different. So I do my very best to not measure by numbers of any kind and to just know that at the end of the day, if I'm putting out my best work, that's success for me.
So I think that one thing that I would give advice on is that the idea of success isn't one specific thing, that it's not like you can have your ultimate goal, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you need to focus on. You need to have smaller measures of success in order to work your way up to that because it's not always realistic. So I could say, my idea of success is being a New York Times bestselling author who works full time as an author and gets to go and write in Paris. That's not realistic. Right now, my idea of success is just to get a book published, to have somebody want it and want to publish it and have readers read it. And then the next, could be a sustainable career where I continuously sell books to publishers, or I continuously, have books that are self-published and do, decently well in the self-publishing realm. And eventually you work your way up the ladder of success, but you need to have these small ideas of what is successful. Just like in any office job, you can't just have the ultimate goal of being the CEO. You'll be depressed if you're not there within 5 years. You need to have these little moments of success that you can celebrate along the way, and be satisfied that you are at least improving your writing, because like you said, in 2 years, what you write will be stronger, but you have to look at it as well as what you wrote 2 years ago. You're stronger than that now. And as long as you're continuously moving, you're never going to be fully 100% successful. It's always going to change. It's going to be more. So find those small moments that you can celebrate your success along the way to make yourself, feel like you're doing the right thing in your life and not just wasting time, because your stories need to be out there. Everybody needs to read your stories. So you might as, don't get discouraged because you have this ultimate goal of being a New York Times best-selling author when that's just an arbitrary number that you may never hit. So
I, like the both of you, have thought about the New York Times bestseller list just throughout the process. And now that we know it can be broken, I do not ever care to be on it. It would be great. It would be a great honor, but I think there's a lot more at play than a lot of people think. And when thinking about this topic, I think it's important when you define your author success, make sure you educate yourself on what these quote unquote successes mean. A New York Times bestseller, we really didn't know what it took to get there until it was broken. And then we're like, oh, that's what it takes. And it just seems very hard to reach unless you have certain backing, and it's all very strategic and things like that. Also, in terms of, educating yourself on your own craft. That's something that will grow as you write more, as Julie said. I used to, and also, we sort of mentioned how this can change. So I think author success is very dynamic. So, when I started off, I wanted to be a full-time author, and I worked toward that. And along the way, I figured out, just with my strengths and everything too, one, I need that time to think about my books a lot more. So it's not going to be this full-time career where I'm rapid releasing and everything like that. When it came to indie publishing, or if it was trad publishing, I was at an imprint where I didn't get advances. So the royalties were a little different. And also the fact of putting pressure on my creativity to pay my bills. I found that to be a very hard stop for me, especially, when I became a mother and I sort of shifted my values and my goals in life. So I think that is success to me. So for me to keep publishing and to keep growing, I find that if I can do that to the best of my ability at the time, then that's success for me. Of course, there's all of these superficial things that you can look for in your success. And I'm not saying they're bad, but when you're looking at money and things like that, and lists and awards. And you just have to understand what those take to get there. And you can get there. But if you're starting, as I'm writing my first book, looking that high will only disappoint you right away. So, get a couple books under you, get your feet wet, build your community, and you can soar high as you want. But it's very important to sort of make sure you understand what these little steps or rungs on your ladder, or whatever you're climbing to get to where you want to be. And if you do continue in this career, I have to say that amount of stairs and the amount of rungs is endless. You will never reach the top. You will just reach for more, and that's okay. Like I said, it's very dynamic in that sense.
I was just going to add something on top of what you said, is when you were talking about having a career as a full-time writer. If you would have asked me at 23 or even at 28, probably, do you want to be a full-time just writer? I would have said, yes, that's the goal. That's absolutely the goal. But then over the course of growing up and living my life, not being a full-time writer, I've built a career for myself outside of writing. And now, if you ask me that, it's not a goal, because I don't think that regardless of what I measure as success, that I could give up these years of hard work and dedication that I've put to my career. I would just like to have a writing career that bookends that career, so that I don't have to worry about pumping out 4 books a year to make ends meet, but I also still am able to be a writer in the way that I want to go home from my career and say, okay, that job is done for the day. Now I can focus on my creativity and write my books. So I think that as you learn and grow, it's okay if you're, like you said, it changes. So just define what it is for you now, but don't be upset if that needs to change, even within a year.
And I would say that it's definitely going to change, and that's okay. That's good. The more you learn about the industry and the business that is writing, as creative as it is, and as much as we love it, it's a business. So the more that you learn about the business, your goals are going to change, because you're going to learn more about what it takes and what it really means to be a publishing author. And I think it's really important too to kind of have realistic expectations for yourself and your goals. Not to say that you can't have stretch goals, or you can't have big dreams, or you can't let yourself dream of like the what ifs and the maybes. But I think to pin hopes, I think right now you're seeing probably a lot of people, if you're anywhere near, TikTok, that there's these authors that are going super viral and they're getting the Amazon #1 bestseller, and they've done something that just makes them, so like grabby. Everybody wants their book, and they end up, before they even publish, with pre-orders that make them bestsellers and this and that. And a lot of those are going to be flash in the pans, where that, that particular social media outlet may not even be something that people are going to anymore by the time you're ready to publish. It might be something that, burns itself out. I think the key here is to really set goals for yourself that are dependent upon you, and not a what if, or, like, if I can get this thing to go viral, or if I can get, this person to do this, then this, or, whatever. Like, I think the goals really benefit you when they are things that are within your control. If I can do this, if I know I can market to my local bookstore, I know I can market to my local library, I know I can work within these parameters, but maybe not pinning your hopes on being the next big, like, viral sensation, because that's not even comparisonitis. That's I just think that it's difficult sometimes when we're seeing right now a big surge in independent writers and authors, which is phenomenal and absolutely fantastic. But a lot of these authors are hitting the right books at the right time. And you don't know what the right book is going to be, or the right time is going to be, by the time you're ready. So I just think that, I've seen people that say, like, well, if I can just jump on this, if I can write this book really quick, then I can get this out in time, and then I can be the next that person. So just making your goals things that are a little bit more within your control, I think can really help limit, disappointment as well.
Well, I also think too that, a lot of these situations are strategies and they're not goals. To be honest, I don't know of anyone who sort of like sees a book on TikTok go viral and then write it in 2 days and make it go viral. Like that would be amazing. You'd be an amazing writer, and hats off to you. So none of these situations are bad necessarily, or you should not strive for them. But when it comes to like the book making process, it's not just like that and it's done. And, you can jump on these trends, but I feel like most of the people who have jumped on these trends, especially TikTok, because it's what we were sort of talking about, they've already had these books out. They may have had them out for 5 years and now they're getting a resurgence, or they may have had it out for a year and they're like, okay, my goal was to release this book. They did that thing. They were successful in that thing. But now this thing came up and I can talk about it on TikTok, and it may be a year later, like I said. So it's nothing that's like so quick. I 100% understand the drive and want to jump on things that are popular and everything like that. But if you are interested in keeping this as a long-term career, whether or not you do it on top of a full-time job or not, you really have to, strive for concrete goals, attainable goals, and, you can stretch yourself along the way. So,
yeah, I agree. The idea of going viral in any sort of sense of the word should never be anyone's idea of success, because 9 times out of 10, the second book that they put out after their first viral book, is not going to sell, because that one book was viral. It's done. It's flash in the pan, like Julie said. And with any trend that you see like that, even if it's just trends with the in the regular old book world without social media, unless you're ahead of the trend, so there's no way to, it's going to get saturated really quickly. You remember the first book that was about, a YA about a kid that was gonna like help their world because it was, in a post-apocalyptic type of situation. You remember the first couple ones that went viral. You don't remember the 12th or the 13th, because at that point it was oversaturated and you didn't care anymore. You remember the first 2-3 books that went viral on Book Talk. You don't remember the 12th one because it's oversaturated. So if you try to come in and say, I saw 2 months ago this book went viral, I have a similar book I'm writing, let me finish it in the next year, and then by the time you actually have written it and can go viral, those kind of books may not be going viral on TikTok anymore, or even TikTok could even exist anymore. That can't be your idea of success, because you're just going to, unless you're just ahead of it and you just happen to have already written a book that has gone viral and you're like, my book's like that, and you can add your 2 cents in, like, hey, you like that book? I also have this one. There's no way to predict what goes viral. So just be obtainable success. I think that's all.
So our question of the episode is, how do you define author success? And as always, we have a link in the description to the Writers Hive Discord. If you want some more access to us in between these episodes, we're so happy for you to join our community. All those links are in the description box below. Be sure to comment, like this video, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
I think I have one in the comments.